What is good, fellas? So earlier in the year, I made a video called How to Draft the Best Fantasy Draft Team in Madden 23 Franchise. That was right when the game came out. Since then, I've been in I don't even know. I've been in countless amount of franchises. Probably like close to I've probably done like 100 fantasy drafts in Madden 23. So I've learned a thing or two since then, and I want to update you guys on what I think about drafting in Madden 23 and how to draft. So let's hop in this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and sub to the channel. Let's hop in the video. Peace. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to go over a few key points on how to draft your fantasy draft team, and I'm going to walk through one of my fantasy drafts that I did this year. Okay, guys, so here are the rules that I came up with first in my first video when Madden 23 first came out, and I'm going to change some of these around. Number one on my list was Gunslinger / Dev QB, and that stays the same, man. Even though Gunslinger isn't like as OP as it was in Madden 22, Madden 23, and I assume Madden 24, you're still going to need those throwing abilities, especially with how good the blitzes are this year. With blitzes like DB Fire and like the cover 4 blitz, and everyone just kind of, the blitzes are insane this year. So if you have a quarterback who can get the ball off quicker, you're going to be in a way better spot than if you have like a normal dev QB. So that thing definitely stays the same. Rules number 2 and 3 on my list were speed. Honestly, usually in Madden, don't get me wrong, speed is still very important in this game. But it's not as important as it was in Madden 22. In Madden 22, you could kind of just throw up streaks. I don't know how it's going to be in Madden 24. But I think that abilities are way more valuable than speed in this game. Although speed is definitely still valuable, don't get me wrong. But I think I'd rather draft an ability receiver over a speedy receiver, especially because you could get 94, 95 speed receivers late in the draft. So I'd say depending on your playstyle, I would recommend getting a dev wide receiver or D lineman with edge threat elite. Me personally, I like to bank on getting a breakout game usually, so I'll draft a young wide receiver with star dev and just kind of feed him throughout the season and try to get a breakout game to get him to superstar. But the reason I say edge threat elite is because that ability is super valuable in CFM, especially if you have a league where you can't like buy X Factor quarterbacks with fearless and stuff like that, because edge threat elite is edge threat and under pressure in one ability. So they shed super fast off the edge, and they're going to cause pressure from a greater distance on the quarterback, as well as double or nothing. If you play that with double or nothing or pass committed, your guys are going to shed super quick, and you don't have to send like 5 or 6 people to get pressure on the quarterback. That is one thing that's definitely changed between last Madden and this Madden, and I don't know how it's going to be next Madden, but last Madden, dev D linemen were pretty much useless. This Madden, they're very, very useful. So guys like Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, they are all super valuable. Definitely good first round picks in Madden 23. Another position that's super valuable, at least for me, is a superstar tight end or an X Factor tight end. Those are pretty scarce in the game. There's not too many of them, so if you're able to get your hands on one, it's a really, really good pick. I like that you could get route apprentices with them as well. If you don't have an X Factor quarterback, it's really nice to be able to put your tight end on corner routes or post routes. It really opens up your offense, especially for me. I love throwing to my tight end. So guys like Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, obviously Travis Kelce, dudes like that, Darren Waller, are very, very valuable and could be very serviceable second round or even first round picks if you guys want. A lot of people take Kyle Pitts in the first round because he's super young. He's like 91 speed and he's an X Factor. So he's going to upgrade really, really fast, and he's already really good to start off with. He's really, really like a cheat code at tight end. But so you'll see Kyle Pitts go a lot in comp CFMs. You'll see him go in the first round. I don't know if I'd ever take him in the first round, but in the second round, I'd definitely take a superstar X Factor tight end. So number 4 on my list is budget edge rusher. So you guys probably like, what does that mean? So guys like Zadarius Smith, if you guys watch my channel, I draft Zadarius Smith almost every single fantasy draft. Khalil Mack, Chandler Jones, guys like that, because they have built-in edge threat. Zadarius Smith has built-in edge threat elite, and he's not a super high overall. The other thing about this game is that abilities matter over overall. So even though, you might draft someone like, let's see, like Rashawn Gary, who's probably a higher overall than Zadarius Smith, they're not going to shed as much because they don't have edge threat elite or edge threat and double or nothing. So you're going to want to get budget edge rushers in like rounds 4 or 5. Those guys are usually still there. So say you draft Aaron Donald in the first round, and then you get Zadarius Smith in like round 4. That's going to be a disgusting D-line. You're going to notice a huge difference because even if they draft really good O-line, they're probably not going to have enough O-line to stop both of your guys coming off the edge. So you could play a lot of coverage defense and still get a lot of pressure. Number 5 on my list, honestly could be higher, is O-line abilities. So because of how OP D-line is this year, O-line abilities are very, very valuable. So that's one thing that changed a lot from Madden 22, and I think it will change again in Madden 24, is that D-line and O-line are super valuable in this game. Last game, it was not very valuable. But when I say valuable, I mean just the abilities. So I personally, I think if you draft a good overall D-line with no abilities, you're not really going to notice anything. If you draft so the most valuable ability is Secure Protector. You have to draft guys with Secure Protector. Some guys have that built in, some guys don't. If they don't have it built in, you need to get 90 overall Pass Protector to get that Secure Protector ability. So you're probably like, why is it so valuable? So like I said, abilities like Edge Threat and Double or Nothing are pretty much instant shed plays. Secure Protector makes it so you can't shed instantly from the edge. So even if you draft, say, Zach Martin, who's a guard, I always put them at tackle because you don't want your edge rushers shedding like that. D tackles do not really shed that much and get sacks. They're really good for stopping the run, but with my personal experience with Madden 23, you don't really need a superstar center or things like that, but I would definitely try to get one, if not two, O-line abilities to try to protect your edges. So a lot of people are high on DBs in this game and KO abilities and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't like them that much. So number 6 on my list is going to be young speed wide receivers or DBs. So I like to get a good D line and then draft fast corners so I can play man coverage. Like I said, this is based on personal play style. I don't like to run DB blitzes that much, but a lot of people do. That's really like the meta. So if you like to run DB blitzes, maybe you'd want to draft fast corners earlier. But me personally, I think that if you get decent fast corners late in the draft and you have a really good D-line, you could kind of run cover 2 man coverage and have a lot of success with it. And then I put young speed wide receiver as well because I like to have at least one guy that's at least 94 speed on my team, so they can't really man press you the whole game, and you have someone that you can throw a streak to if the pressure is getting there. Number 7 on my list is a good user. Me personally, I rely a lot on my user for defense. I like to play a defense where the edges are protected, like the corner routes and stuff like that, and you could user the middle. So I don't have a lot of middle zones on my field, and having a good user is super valuable to me. The best users in the game, in my opinion, are used to be Isaiah Simmons, but they moved into outside linebacker. Linebackers are not good users because they don't animate on catches as much. I hope they change that in Madden 23, so they're more valuable. But linebackers in this game are kind of not valuable unless they're a pass rusher. But like I was saying, guys like Jeremy Chin, Justin Reed, Lewis Seen, Daxton Hill, a lot of these young, fast DBs are really, really good users. And I like to have a tall user as well. People like Ryan Neal also, I think he's like 6'3", 91 speed. I love drafting tall users with good speed. So that's my personal preference. Someone might not want a good user, and that's fine. But this is my list. So these are my other keys to the draft. Number 1, man, if you guys do not get a good QB round 1, wait, dude. Wait. Trust me. Unless you're doing a super long, fantasy draft with your friends where you're going 10 years or something, sure, you could take someone like Justin Fields in the 2nd round or something like that because he's a young star dev and he's going to develop. But for most fantasy drafts, bro, if you do not get an X Factor or superstar QB round 1, don't take someone like round 2 or 3, man. It's just a waste of a pick because they're not going to develop to X Factor in one season. They're not going to make a difference. You're not going to see much of a difference if you draft a 80 overall QB to a 72 overall QB. It's just not worth it. So I usually wait. If you guys watch my drafts, if I don't draft the QB round 1, I'm waiting till the last round to draft one because it's just not worth it. Another one of my keys, this is a hot take, but running backs are not valuable in my opinion. Maybe if you run the ball a lot, you're running under center a lot, maybe your running back is valuable, but I really think that you could get away with getting, a decent running back in one of the last rounds of the draft and not drafting someone like Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey super high up. The only valuable part of a running back, in my opinion, is if they get extra hot routes. So I really like dudes like Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. I don't think Cordell Patterson gets any more, but they have the backfield master ability, excuse me, where you could get extra hot routes out of the backfield and they have better catching out of the backfield. So that's the only really valuable thing about a running back. If you guys really like running backs, I would recommend drafting a young, good running back later in the draft. Guys like Kenneth Walker are really, really good. He's a really good running back. Breece Hall is really good. So they're really good. And Travis Etienne, also a really good pick. And they're people that can get dev games, which is a breakout game in the middle of the season to get them up to superstar. And they're really good even if they don't get a dev upgrade. So that's my personal opinion. So this last point is probably the most important thing that I like to do in fantasy drafts, is try to get the last of the abilities at each position. So what I mean by that is that if you really want a good wide receiver, right? You want a superstar wide receiver in like the second round. There's probably going to be a lot of wide receivers to pick from, right? There's going to be a lot of wide receivers. You could probably get one in the next round. So if there's a ton of abilities at wide receiver, you're probably gonna go to like a D line. So you're gonna want to look at edge rushers or something like that. If you want ability corners, you're probably going to want to look at corners before you look at a dev wide receiver, because there's not as many dev corners, there's not as many dev edge rushers as wide receivers. And unless you're drafting a Tyreek Hill or like a Jalen Waddle, someone that's super, super fast, all of the dead wide receivers kind of play the same. I'm not going to lie. They all kind of play the same if they're not insanely fast. All right, guys. So this is one of my fantasy drafts I did. This is one of my full season fantasy drafts, excuse me, in TD Barrett's franchise. So I'm going to go over what I was thinking in these situations. I'll just go over, I think we'll do like 10 or 12 picks. So I'll just go over each pick, kind of walk you through my thought process. Here we go. In this draft, we actually had pick 10. So at a top 10 pick here, I think I said it in the video, but you're looking at a QB, an X Factor QB. And if you don't get an X Factor QB, you're looking for the next best thing. So let's see what I do here.
I feel like I gotta take Tyreek Hill.
Okay, so I said I'm going to take Tyreek Hill, but let me tell you guys why I took Tyreek Hill. All right. So if you look at the available quarterbacks here, this is a one-season league, remember. So the only person I would ever consider taking in this situation is not Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers. The only reason I would take Aaron Rodgers is because he gets the passing elite ability, I believe. Jalen Hurts is superstar in this draft. He's not X Factor. And even if you upgrade him to X Factor, his strong arm attribute is not very high. And if they're not at 90 overall strong arm, they don't get good passing abilities, so it's kind of a waste of a pick. So you could say Aaron Rodgers here, and that would be a really good pick. But in my opinion, man, at pick 10, I'm looking for someone that's like a once in a draft person, and that person is Tyreek Hill. 99 speed X Factor is just, when you have 99 speed and an X Factor ability, you're kind of unguardable. So that was my thought process here.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're up. I want to take an edge rusher.
All right, so you just heard me say I want to take an edge rusher at in my second round, pick 23. So it looks like there's not any good ones.
Reddick isn't superstar, which sucks.
See how they all went off the board though?
I'm gonna go Judon.
But Judon,
and then I'm gonna go.
So Judon, I believe, is one of those budget edge rusher guys that gets edge threat. Even though he's not 90 overall speed rusher, he still gets edge threat. So that's a really, really budget pick by me. Honestly, I don't know if I would do that again there. I don't know. That's a really tough spot. When you get a top pick and then you get a second round pick, all the really good dudes are gone. And then you have to pick someone like Matthew Judon. But honestly, that's a solid pick. Now looking back on it, I would say that's a good pick. All right, so this is actually a really good draft for me to do because I took two like budget guys. So Khalil Mack,
He does get
like I said in the video,
so we're gonna have two edge threats, which makes our
gets edge rush or edge threat. Sorry. So even though I didn't have a good first round pick for an edge rusher like someone like Aaron Donald, I still got two edge threats. Even though they're not, over 90 overall, like I said, abilities rule in this game, man. So you're going to want to take guys with abilities. So Khalil Mack and Matthew Judon screaming off the edge is really, really good. It's the same thing. I'm not going to say it's the same thing, but it's really similar to having like Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett. I'm just making that comparison because they both have abilities. So they're going to shed pretty much the same amount, even though that's not how it is in real life, obviously. If you guys have abilities on people, they're going to play the same way.
% sure he gets
So
secure protector.
Okay, so I took Brandon Sheriff there. Like I said, some guys have secure protector built in. I only know it from doing like a million fantasy drafts. Brandon Sheriff is one of those guys, I believe. So I like having a secure protector, and threat detector helps me out a ton. Threat detector tells you which players are blitzing on 3rd and 4th down, so you kind of know what defense they're in. especially if you don't have an X Factor quarterback, bro. I always, always, always have a dev O lineman. I'm not 100% sure if Brandon Sheriff did get secure protector, but even if he didn't, I would need threat detector because I love knowing who's blitzing on third and fourth down. It saves me a lot of games, to be honest. Okay, so this is before the update. So Isaiah Simmons is a safety in this draft. He's 6'4", 93 speed. Like I said, man, users are really, really important to me. I love being able to use in the middle of the field. So Isaiah Simmons, I went with here. Honestly,
Users about to go crazy.
love that pick. Love that pick.
Kenneth Walker the third.
All right, so I'm definitely contradicting myself here with this pick, but I took Kenneth Walker the third with this
and-
pick. I say in the video, I've always wanted him in a draft. I've done so many of these, bro, that I like taking new players. So honestly, if it was like a do or die draft, I probably wouldn't take a running back here. But like I said, if you're gonna take a running back, you're gonna want to take someone like this, a super young, fast running back that's already an 85. He's a hidden development. He's a star dev. So if you run with him a lot, he could get a breakout game and become an absolute beast for you. So that's another point that I should have made earlier. If you don't have a good quarterback, I don't think that drafting a good running back is a terrible idea because you're going to want to keep him honest with the run. You can't just air it out every play if you don't have a great quarterback. So that's one exception to my running back rule. Okay, so I just took Kelvin Joseph, 94 speed. This is someone that's really, really good to draft because his height, when I look at corners, I look at height, age, speed, and development trait, obviously, but 94 speed, 6 foot, 22 years old. So when someone's super young, they're going to upgrade fast, right? And the more chances you have to upgrade your guy, the more chances you have at speed upgrades. I don't really see that much of a difference in ratings as far as man, maybe zone coverage. I see people play different, but if someone has 99 man and 75 man coverage, I really don't notice the difference, man. I really don't. So I just look at speed, height, and age, really, when I'm drafting corners. Kelvin Joseph fits that description perfectly. So this is another budget pick. I say in this video, Fletcher Cox is one of the only superstars left in the draft. So I like to take there's no more superstar D tackles. Now Fletcher Cox may be a reach, but I just wanted to have a really good D line. I'm pretty sure he comes with built-in under pressure, which is a really good ability, especially if you're not in a league with all X Factor DBs. So this is more of a budget pick, but still a solid pick in my opinion. Okay, so in this round, I took a quarterback. It's probably because I thought it was the last round in the draft. I took Ryan Tannehill. So when looking at a quarterback in the last rounds of the draft, I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at throw power, and I'm looking at speed. Because I like, the only two stats that matter is really throw power and speed. I don't really notice a difference if someone has, like I said about corners. Same thing with running back. With quarterback, sorry. If someone has 85 mid accuracy and 75 mid accuracy, like you're just not gonna notice the difference, man. You're just not gonna notice the difference. But throw power, you will notice the difference. You'll notice the ball travels faster, obviously, and speed. Obviously, you're gonna notice the difference because the dude is fast. You'll be able to scramble out the pocket. If you like running like a read option offense as well, having a speedy quarterback is helpful. So that's why I picked Ryan Tannehill here. Okay, so we ended up going one more round, and another dude I like to take a lot is Keon Crossan. Similar to Kelvin Joseph. He's young, he's fast, and he's tall. He's 6 feet, 94 speed, and he's like 23, 24 years old, maybe 26. I'm not sure, but like I said, fast DBs. So I drafted a really good D line, and I'm looking to draft fast DBs so we can play man coverage. So that was my philosophy in this draft. All right, guys, so those are my personal rules of drafting in Madden 23/Madden 24. If you guys are watching this going into Madden 24, I assume a lot of these principles are going to stay the same. But leave any comments down below on what you guys like to draft, anything I missed, anything you guys like to do that you have found, like little cheat codes in the fantasy draft. Let me know, man. Let me know. Leave a comment down below. Leave a like on this video. Leave a comment. Can't wait for Madden 24. Take it easy and have a nice day.